It's the two who's. Who do I need to hire to figure out this problem? Or who do I need to have on the team to figure out this problem? And then the last who is who do I need to become?
Welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast, brought to you by Dot and Company. Whether you're a virtual assistant, an agency owner, or a client-facing account manager, we all deal with clients. Lucky for you, client management is what we do best. Now, let's dig in, chat cam life, and have some fun along the way. Cheers to happy clients.
I know you didn't start your agency to be a professional email chaser or spreadsheet wrangler, but between client follow-ups and sales pipeline chaos and feeling like you're dropping the ball all the time, the admin is running the show of your agency. It's time to take back control with Copper CRM. Copper is the only CRM designed for agencies that lives in Google Workspace. Think automatic follow-ups, seamless client handoffs, and full visibility across your team, all in one place. Let your systems work for you, not the other way around. Start your free 14-day trial now at copper.com/happyclients. Snag 15% off of an annual plan with the code happyclients at checkout.
Jason Swenk, welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
Amazing. Well, over the years, we've connected a lot, and I've been able to attend your events and meet people from your mastermind. And I'm always really impressed with your angle of coaching. And I think in our industry, there's so many people out there who are coaching agencies to scale and scale quicker and build these big agencies, which is awesome. But I really resonate with your approach to growing a business that is meaningful to you and your life. And so when I was thinking about how we could share with our audience some tips and tricks and maybe mistakes that we see agency owners make, I was really excited to interview you on the show because I really just love the way that you angle your coaching. So excited to dig in, but maybe you could start with some mistakes that you see agency owners make when they're in your mastermind and going through your coaching program.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is they're focusing on the wrong things, right? They think I need to scale and my top line revenue needs to be X and I need to have this. But a lot of times at the end of the day, that's not what matters, right? Like I've bought 10 agencies in the past couple of years and I'm not buying them on top line revenue. I'm buying them on profit. I'm buying them on how efficient is their agency and how efficient are they? Like, for example, I was telling you kind of in the pre-show, a lot of times our mastermind members come to us and they're like, I want to go from 1 million to 10 million. I'm like, that's great, but you're not profitable. And there's a lot of agencies that are at the 10 million that are 10% profitability. I'm like, that's not that good. I mean, for where they're at. And so I always like to say, you got to build the business around yourself. I got to a point when I think we were around the 2 or 3 million mark, and I hated what I was doing. I just wanted to quit. And, people would always go, oh, you need to scale, you need to scale. I'm already at my max. I felt like I was at my max. And I was like, you want me to scale? So now I'm going to have even more pressure on me? I'm like, no, 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 no. I don't want to do that. And then what I started realizing is I need to design the business around myself. So I started making a list of going, what are all the things I hate doing in the agency? I don't like account management. I don't like project management. So then I started thinking after I did that, I was like, well, what are all the things I really love doing? Which was a very shorter list. And then I was like, well, let's design the business this way. And what I found that worked for me personally was I only wanted to work 20 hours a week rather than 80 hours a week of what I was doing. Like that was perfect for me. I wasn't bored and I wasn't overmaxed. So then I started thinking about what are the systems, what are the things I need to do, or what are the types of clients I need? What are the team members around me? And then you know what happened? Like I got extremely profitable after that. And then we were able to
Interesting.
sell a couple years later. So
Interesting. I think that's a really good thing to note is that you probably thought that when you got to 3 million, all your problems would go away, that you would have this big agency and that you would have this great team and you wouldn't have to be working. But the opposite actually happened because you didn't set it up from the beginning so that when you got to that point, you weren't the bottleneck anymore. So for an agency owner who's maybe doing 500 or a million, what are some of the things that they should think about earlier than you so that they don't end up in that position?
Well, a lot of times it's about resetting, right? I played tennis in college. I remember this story like it was yesterday, and it was a long time ago in college. But I was playing this guy, and I should have been crushing him, but he was beating me. And my coach just yelled at me because I was like, "What am I doing?" Right? Like I was that typical college brat. Like, "What am I doing? This guy sucks. I'm way better." And my coach was like, "Hey, jackass, go back to the basics." And that's what agency owners need to do. We're like, I was an accidental agency owner. I designed a website making fun of someone that got popular, and someone offered me money to design a website, and I was off to the races. And so, for many years, up until that point when I kind of built the agency around me, I didn't build the right foundation. I didn't know where we were going. I
Hmm.
couldn't tell the team where they were going. And so that meant the team was always coming to me for everything versus if I just told them the destination, now they can make decisions based on what's best for the agency rather than what's best for them. And so what I always tell everybody, just go back to the basics and you got to figure out, where do I want to go? Why did I create this thing? Right? Like when I look at agency mastery, our North Star is to create a resource I wish I had when I was running the first agency. So every decision is based on that. And my whole team, they don't have to come to me for all the decisions. And I don't have to hire the people I have to manage. They manage themselves and they can make decisions based on that singular goal and that vision.
Hmm.
And then I also figured out, I was like, hey, these are the types of people that we can help and we want to help. And these are our core values that we believe in, and we want to attract these for people being in our community. So then now, you're building this business and you're building the right foundation that can hold a lot of weight. But the cool thing is when you build the right foundation, it's not all the weight on your shoulders. It's the weight on the foundation. And you're just a part of it. Like you're standing on the foundation now, rather than the foundation standing on your shoulders, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. So when thinking about building an agency for your own lifestyle, it doesn't sound selfish to me because I know what that's like. But as an agency owner, how do you communicate that's the vision, but that's really just your own vision? Do you create a separate vision for the agency
No,
and then that is just kind of your North Star?
no, because the people that you attract, they have the similar vision too. Like if you think of the team that we created, like Jody and Darby and Stacy and all that, they are my complete opposites, but we all believe in the same thing. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important to know. Darby and Stacy and Jody, they don't want to work all the time. They want to go out and have fun in their life. And I'm never like, oh, you must put your timesheet in and this and work from 9 to 5 every single day and all this kind of stuff and respond to email within 5 minutes, all this kind of stuff. I want them to have a life and I want everyone on the team to have a life and I want to have a life. Now, when I'm out hiking a mountain or flying or doing whatever, they know that they can reach me if they need me, but I don't need to be in the office all the time. When I ran the first agency, I remember when I got it really humming and we had a physical office, I felt like I had to be in the office 24/7. I had to be the first one in, first one out. Looking back, and when I chat with a lot of my team members from the agency, they're like, man, we got so much more work done when you were out.
So how much of that is your mindset versus the foundation?
It's both. Like your
Mm.
mindset thinks, especially when you created it from scratch, you think you're the best person for every single job in your organization. And that's not the case. As soon as you start creating the right systems within, like one of the systems is I always talk about is once you gain that clarity, now you can give that clarity to the other team members. So then they can go do that.
Right.
Right. Or if you're positioned in the right way, now people can kind of describe you. I'm not just a Facebook agency, right? Like who cares about a Facebook agency? But like we'd be like, we were working with this nonprofit or this agency that was helping nonprofits out. And they were like, well, we do websites for nonprofits. And I was like, well, okay. And then we help them with the repositioning. We'd be like, we help nonprofits get more members, donors, and volunteers through marketing. So then everybody could start spreading that. So the owner wasn't in charge of selling. The owner wasn't in charge of marketing. That gave the freedom to the rest of the team in order to go do that. So then the owner could just do the things that no one else could do, which
Hmm.
are, setting the vision, communicating it to the team, being the face of the organization, right? Getting on stages like you get on stages when you were speaking at Elevate, or, building key relationships. Team members have a sometimes a more challenging time to do, or building better leaders in the organization. Like my job when we started getting really good, going from good to great was I was building every person as a great leader
Mm.
versus a manager. Managers are the worst if you think about it, right? Like
Yeah.
TPS reports and timesheets and all this. Nah, that's bullshit.
Yeah. So when agencies are in the mastermind and you're coaching them, and there's probably a lot of trends that are similar amongst most agencies who are looking to scale. Are there any things that you coach on that if only they just did these things, they would be successful, but they don't do them? Does that make sense?
Yep, there's probably three things, right? I mean, there's a million things. They're not charging the right amount. Like I can
Mm.
look, they can tell me like, "Oh, I'm just so busy and I'm taking all these, like, what if you just raised your prices?" And the cool thing that happens in our community, because it's not group coaching and it's really not coaching. It's more of agencies helping other agencies. And because they can kind of see the things that they haven't been able to see, and they're coming from more of a like, hey, I just went through this. Like, for example, we had a mastermind member, Dean, his pricing was so low. And we are like, man, like you're literally losing money on deals. And so he increased his prices by double for all new clients coming in. Then he realized that the old clients were paying half. So the opportunity cost was there. So he doubled the rates for them. Every one of them said yes. He made $67,000 more a month just by
Wow.
doing this. And he was able to sell a year later, right? So most agencies aren't selling or charging enough. I have a
Okay.
t-shirt that says, if you're too busy, you're not charging enough. So it takes people a little bit while to do that. The other one is not niching down and marketing to a niche. And I always tell everybody, look, if you're marketing to a niche, you still can take on work outside of it. You're just marketing to it, right? No one's paying attention to your marketing like you think they are, other than your parents, right?
Yes.
Right. And
Yeah.
so really picking a niche because, I can't tell you how many agencies we've helped over the years that fought me for the first year and fought the mastermind for choosing a niche. And as soon as they did, they dominated their niche. And like 3 years later, they were able to sell or just have such a strong position that no one can even, they have no competition because they just blow them out of the way. And then I guess the last part too is creating helpful content like what we're doing now, creating a podcast. There's a drinking game in the community whenever I'm like, hey, you should raise your prices, pick your niche, and start a podcast, right? Um, like I started our podcast, the Smart Agency Masterclass, 11 years ago by accident. I was just like, I just want to talk to other agency owners and just talk shop and see what comes out of it. And, that's the single biggest thing we've ever done for agency mastery is create that podcast and just put out great information and build those great relationships with people that we have had on the show. So,
Yeah, that's super interesting. And I know you've mentioned selling your agency a few times. So let's say an agency owner comes to you and they know that they want to sell their business in 3 years. And all that they hear in the industry is you have to scale, you have to get your revenue to 5 million, so then you get higher multiples and also profitability. How do you coach that person to maybe look at it in a different way?
well, I think just saying I want to sell in a certain time frame is a mistake because what if you did that 2 years before COVID and said, like, I want to sell during 2020 and then the timing's wrong? Or if you did that, who knows if we're going to a recession now or whatever it is, right? Like, I think timing is the wrong thing. I think you should only sell when you know exactly what you're going to do next. Like, when I was buying a bunch of agencies, a lot of times I would talk to an agency because we were buying agencies that were over 1 million in EBITDA. So we weren't buying distressed agencies. Like we're buying very healthy ones. Like I don't want to fix shit. I want to buy good stuff and great stuff on top of it. So I would talk them out of it. I'd be like, Taylor, why do you want to sell? You're making over $1 million a year. You're working 20 hours a week. What am I missing? Now, if they said, I've always had a dream to be an airline pilot and they knew exactly what they wanted to do, I'd be like, all right, cool, go do that. But if you're like me, where when I sold the first agency, I didn't know what I was going to do. And honestly, 2 weeks after I sold, I was completely depressed. Went to a Tony Robbins event like a month later, try to find myself. Walked on fire, thought that was fake. Then people got burned like a year later. I was like, oh shit, that's real. I was really excited about it. And,
Mm.
like helping agency owners. So a lot of times I tell people just think of all the reasons why you want to sell now. And it's always usually an issue they haven't figured out. there's a problem.
Mm,
I haven't figured out how to get more leads, or I haven't figured out how to hire people to follow this. But if I go, what if you solve that one thing? Would you still want to sell? And most of the chances are they're like, no,
so
right?
true. Yeah.
Like, so like, don't sell. But if it, if it's the right number and you know exactly what you're going to do next, and then sell. But I always want people to have the option. It's better to have options because then it's in your control versus getting to a point where you hate the agency, it's not that profitable, and you have to sell in order to make payroll or whatever it is. That's not a good situation.
That makes sense. So, agency owners who are maybe in that seat where they're struggling to figure it all out. And I know I've been through this as well. Like, I feel like I need to be the one to figure everything out. What are some of those things?
It's like the cue, right? I remember the one thing I learned at the Tony Robbins event. He was like, well, if you say you're overwhelmed, it means you're giving too much priority to too many things. Like you got to figure out the triggers, right? So if you're constantly going like, how do I need to do this? You're asking the wrong question. It's the two who's. Who do I need to hire to figure out this problem? Or who do I need to have on the team to figure out this problem? And then the last two is who do I need to become? Because when I look back at when I sold my agency, I thought I was at the top of my knowledge for running that agency. I was like, well, I grew it to over 8 figures. I don't think I have the knowledge to get to 9 figures. So I might as well sell it now because I'm hurting the business, right? Like
Mm,
the agency bumped up to my knowledge and couldn't go above it. But looking back, especially over the past, I sold that in the end of 2011. And then I retired for like 3 years and then I got back into doing this, right? But now looking back, I'm like, oh my God, I could have grown that thing to 9 figures. I've become a lot higher in my knowledge. So then the agency can go there. So whenever you're trying to figure out how do I do this and you ask yourself, that's the trigger. When you say how, ask you the two who's.
I like that. I'm going to put that on a sticky note on my desk. Amazing. So, if you could give an agency owner listening just one piece of advice about scaling successfully for them, what would it be?
Take your time and fail fast, fail often. Don't be afraid of failing. That's how we learn.
I think we all need to hear that.
Mhm. And it sucks. Look, I get it, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, look, this successful person say fail fast, fail often, right? Screw you. But it's so true because I used to think the same thing when I would hear that from people I looked up to, but it is true.
Yes.
That's why
That
there's
is
so
when
many
you
people that say
learn.
it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And sometimes it's looking back at your failures, quote failures or
Yeah.
learnings, is when you actually see why that happened to you and why things came in your path.
Yeah, I heard this great quote. It's like, don't let yesterday's failures stop you today. Let it push you forward or something like that. Let yesterday prepare you for today. Um, and I was like, I love that. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I'm
No,
going to
that
butcher that quote for the rest of my life.
I love it. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This was really insightful. And I think most agency owners listening probably needed to hear this when it comes to really designing your agency around who you want to be and what kind of lifestyle you want, not just about the numbers or about selling or scaling. Um, so, how can people learn more about you and your amazing mastermind?
Yeah, the best way is to go check out some of our free advanced agency training. If you go to swenk.it, SWENK.it, you'll get access to a lot of free training out there. We try to put out almost everything for free to help you guys out, to really give you that resource I wish I had rather than charging for it. Go through that. And then if you like that and you want to be a part of a pretty special community, then you can reach out.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Jason, for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers to happy clients.